Good morning. I'm higher vibrations and so are you. There have been an increase in all of the ascension symptoms, what we've been listing over the past weeks and months, just in the past couple of days, really. Though this month, the month of July, has been really a gift to all of us. There has been so much more happening. It may not feel like a gift when we're doing it. For instance, who wants to feel vertigo-like symptoms? Who wants to feel dizzy or lightheaded as we are? Who would really choose these things, right, at this moment? And it's just something that's happening. There's a lot of nausea stuff going on and stuff to do with this belly area. So like the lower three chakras, the red chakra and like kind of like the pelvic area, just above or just below the navel, you have the sacral chakra, which is the orange one. And just above the navel, you have the solar plexus, which is the golden yellow. This area has been predominantly the most complaints. And next to that has been the discussion about the sinuses purging in the ear stuff. So let's talk about these lower three chakras first. So a lot of people starting in the root chakra are noticing a lot of weird sensation in this area. Some people are noticing vibration of the pelvic bone itself. A lot of this is usually the Kundalini awakening, as a lot of people will call it, or the opening of the chakra there, which is the root chakra, a big deal because a lot of us kind of don't pay attention to our lower three chakras. Also, when we're talking about these areas, we're talking about the area of the body having the same kind of symptom energetically as well as emotionally and physically. A lot of nausea is coming in from the solar plexus, the one that's above the navel. And this has a lot to do with the other organs in that area. And we're talking about like the kidneys as well as the liver, these types of things. A gallbladder one has become a really common reported symptom lately. Just feeling like there's a tap, tap, tap on these particular organs. It's the most amazing thing. It feels almost like when you're pregnant and the baby starts to kick from within, that sensation of tap, tap, tap. It's very interesting. There's a lot of emotional stuff that's coming from those particular organs also, so just keeping in mind that you can do any kind of internet search and type in what is the emotion of, and then type in the organ. For instance, kidney is fear. So if the kidneys come in, that's the need to release this fear, just to let it go. And it sounds a lot simpler than it might feel when we're trying to do these types of things. It's a little bit at a time. I would say that the most difficult thing is for us to allow ourselves to take the time. Wanting to rush and having like an immediate result isn't always the most long-lasting one. As Spirit's always saying through me, is that all things must be gradual in order for them to last. When we have rapidity behind something, that it does feel great when we have that result, but then within a very short time, it's no longer a useful thing. So allowing yourself to take your gradual movement through all of these things really helps. The sacral area, so that orange chakra, this is an area where a lot of people are finding a lot of like IBS-like symptoms, a lot of this purge, this need to like just evacuate your body completely. I'm also having a lot of like, wow, where is all this water coming from? Just a lot of needing to go to the bathroom in every way. There's other purging that's going on as well. We're purging through our skin. So much stuff to do with the skin. We're having this weird sweat. We're having these blotchy like areas. I'll show an example of my knee. There's these bumps that go away, but they feel really itchy when they're there, I find. Maybe itchy is not the right word, but there's some kind of discomfort that makes me want to scratch it. Try not to scratch it, I found, personally. Anyway, there's other kinds of things like patchiness of the skin, not like anything typical. This has nothing to do with, having, dry skin. This is more of like an eczema-like thing. Very strange, like an allergic reaction, kind of welts almost on the skin on occasion. This is just something that people are noticing as it's coming through. a lot of us are also during this same time noticing our body is requesting that we omit certain things from our day-to-day consumption regarding food, drinks, whatever. All of these different things are some of them are no longer in alignment with us frequency wise as we raise our frequency at this time. So noticing suddenly an allergic response to something that you've been eating your whole life. This is really common. This is how I became a non-meat eater, is that my body suddenly started to rebel and propel the things that I had eaten when it was meat based through my body as quickly as possible. I would have like almost like food poisoning like response to it, and just really learned that for me, I can't do it. I'm not a meat eater any longer. It was hard for me to do when it was happening. And now slowly over many, many years, here I am basically a vegan. There are only a few things that we still consume that would move us out of the vegan window. And those things are on occasion. So allow yourself to test. Allow yourself to see what you're no longer in harmony with. Over time, our bodies raising their frequency up can no longer harmonize with something that used to be okay for your body, you know? This has to do with a lot of things. For instance, Parasite. Let's talk about this just for a minute, because it's only been about 50 or so years that it stopped being a regular understood thing to do, to assist your body on a regular basis to remove the parasites from us. There's a lot of real basic home remedy, real easy ways to do it. You know, keeping that in mind, a lot of us are purging these parasites too. And so there's a lot of this weird stuff coming through. And Parasite would be considered part of team body until they no longer served you, right? And so perhaps some of these parasites that you're finding yourself you need to remove are more of an energetic manifestation than a physical one, which have their own method too, removing your consent and saying goodbye and sending them out with love. Energetically, that's really useful. There's meditations that we do all the time for this, as well as with these physical things of the team body. They're no longer in resonance with us, and so it's time to let them go. And I have found that we get to use our voice to say it's time to go, and they will start to go without using outside resources, which are considered to be a really good idea to do both at the same time if you should choose. So keeping that in mind, if we're not doing regular monthly maintenance in this parasite removal thing, then we'll find, like me as well, all of a sudden our body's like, okay, enough, I'm gonna do it for you. And wow, purge city. We're having purging through the bowels, purging through the bladder, purging through weird stuff. Like I am getting this crazy acne everywhere. And it's not acne. It's really not acne, because there are no marks left behind. I mean, there's a couple sometimes, but for the most part, it's just like this stuff is leaving my pores that we would call acne. And on top of that, what else is leaving our pores? It's sweat with something else. So it feels weird, right? And the areas of our body that we're getting this sweat, like the bullseye right behind my head. Like, so if I went back and behind my head, that spot, there's this spot where my body is sweating, and a lot, and it's not actually really sweat. It's something else too. What is it then? It is your body sweating out as a vehicle to send out all of this other stuff that's no longer serving you. It's a thing that is a toxin is something that's no longer serving you, right? And so these toxins are being expelled from our body in this way, as well as like a variety of other things. Something else with the skin, feeling that tickly wickly fun energy experience, that's really been happening more and more for people. Vibrating body or a type of shaking that occurs while at rest is like this really common thing. As we notice the conduit that we are, we're sending the energy through us as a highway from Gaia to God and back again through us to us. And so as we do this motion, we notice there's this transmutation kind of vibration or shaking that occurs For a lot of us, this has become more frequent. All of the things, in fact, that I've talked about. So this is a really common experience. We talked about the ear ringing and the dizziness and stuff briefly, but let's go into it a little further, because this vertigo and this lightheadedness often has association with emotion, not always. Because what we're having right now the most of is the release of these emotions that we would have considered lower emotions before. When first notice it's coming up, all of a sudden we're angry. And why am I angry? And just being a little bit scared maybe because it's so random and so uncommon for you, unlike your personality. Another one is anxiety, fear. These irritability is the main one that I'm finding that's coming up, and I'm not that person. I become impatient with social interactions of people that just don't get the hint that it's time for you to leave. That's it. That's the only thing that it would be a common thing in my life that would even resemble slightly irritability. This is out of the blue kind of irritability. Allowing it to flow through. You're not stuffing it. You're not. Allowing it to just breathe through your nose. Take a moment. Let it fill up your diaphragm. When you're noticing your diaphragm extending from your body, you're expanding your belly while you breathe in. Hold it for 3 to 7 seconds or longer, and then exhaling this through the mouth. Cycle of 3. When we cycle through while the emotion is happening, we can then become the observer of the emotion, learning that the emotion is not actually yours. It's truly not yours, and allow it to move through. Some of these dormant emotions have been within this body for many generations. You are the result of the egg in your mother's womb that was complete and ready while she was still in her mother's womb, in your grandmother's womb. And so just in that particular line, look how much you have stored within your body, how much emotion that's been unseen, simply from that very short ancestral line, not considering the fact that your grandmother was the egg that was in her mother while in her grandmother's womb. It goes and goes and goes, as you can see. And so that's also got to do with a lot of the toxins that we're purging too. Many are adding blame or shame or feeling guilty in some way that they had collected or accrued so many different toxins to be purged right now. And this isn't necessarily you. You're coming in to heal it because you're capable. You have the ability, you have the training, and you've done it before. We all have. That's what makes us the starseeds that we are. We've come here with the ability to heal through it. I don't think they ever said that it would be always pleasant, though we have the ability to do it, especially in numbers. Connecting with other people like you, others who are empaths, who are starseeds, who are highly sensitive people, finding that you're not alone and connecting is just such a useful way of raising the frequency enough for you to be able to regain your perspective. We have a Telegram group that's really cool, and it's in the description below. There's over 300 people there from all over the world. Start up a conversation and compare notes. It's really fun to do, and it's so powerful. All of a sudden, you're validated, and you no longer have to question your sanity, which is something that we've all done. Questioning whether or not we are crazy. What is going on? And then now, with this new way that the internet is being used, in my experience, suddenly all of this validation is coming through from people all over the world, simultaneously having the same experiences as I am in a whole different part of the planet, at the same moment. Knowing that you're not alone and that you're not crazy is probably the most powerful gift that anyone can give. And that's why this channel exists. That's why we have this YouTube channel and these Telegram groups. And so I really hope that you take advantage of what's being offered to you. If you'd like to join us, we also meet on Fridays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I think that's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. allowing yourself to come to these, and maybe even just being a part of the audience as we speak can help stir the truth within you and allow it to come out. We are coming upon another series of amazing energy days, and today being one of them. July 26th is considered the Galactic New Year. There's a lot of significance and importance about this. You can look it up in virtually any search engine on the internet and find a lot of amazing stuff about it. Though, for me, what it is a clearing of the template. And at that time, all of these new light codes are available and able to then take resonance in your energetic sphere. And in this energetic sphere of light that you are, as you take in more light, then that light becomes more powerful and more in balance. Knowing that this is such a beautiful opportunity, this moment, it would be suggested to take the time over the next few days in meditation, allowing yourself to ground in this new light code, this new frequency. Higher content in water is what we're all being called to do right now. We're all so thirsty, and that's in order to allow this light to move through you. Plasma can move through a body much easier when it is a higher volume of water within it. Allowing yourself to just follow your body. Your body's telling you what it wants and what it doesn't want. Allow yourself to be guided by this body. If you desire to skip meals, then allowing yourself to do it, considering the needs of your health, of course. I have gotten to a place where I only eat, at the end of the day. I'm what's called an intermittent faster. Before I even knew there was a word for me or that anyone else did it, I learned long ago that I would become ill for hours once I'd consumed breakfast. But it was the healthy meal of the day, right? I was always taught that was the case because cold cereal wanted to sell more cold cereal, turns out. And I would be ill until midday. And at that time, I'd eat lunch, which then it bogged me down. I wasn't ill exactly. I found once I gave myself permission to not have to eat breakfast that I also don't have any desire for lunch on most days. And on occasion, I'll skip my evening meal. And before I know it, I'll look back and see that I'll have gone days, sometimes weeks, or even I've gone up to over a month with just juice and tea without doing it on purpose. The fasting that I have been doing is simply listening to my body. Right now, over the past few months, my body's kind of went up to a higher mass index and then just kind of staying in this balanced place where it is. Even though I am omitting several meals throughout my everyday, I am still maintaining this higher weight, and that's just the natural course of what's needed for my body right now. And so this is really common for a lot of people, as well as rapid weight loss or rapid weight gain that's occurring right now. Both are incredibly correct, and I've had both experiences. It's just something that's happening with us. We're noticing a lot of sensation that's been in the right side now going into the left side. So we're having a lot of shoulder stuff going on. This area here, as well as going up into the neck and the front here, tends to be the muscle that is related to your wing. We all have energetic wings, people. I know it sounds really bizarre, but we do. Sometimes they look like angel wings. Sometimes they look like falcons, or they look like lightning or energetic electricity. Everybody sees their wings differently. It's really fascinating to hear what it looks like for each person. So that's causing us to have this symptom right here of this arm, shoulder, neck, jaw stuff. And then a lot of us will have it on either side, one side at a time, or both at the same time. And this will move down our spine. Most of us have 3 sets of wings. So you'll have this one first, and then you'll notice below that, just about the area of the shoulder blades or so, and then the one below that. And so as this progression happens, you will notice a lot of neck stuff too. The divot in your neck, the little area where your head meets your neck. This spot has been having a lot of symptom for some time. That's probably the highest frequency purge area that we've had reported since we've been doing these. That area is right below that space I told you about, the sweat bomb that's happening back in the back of the head. All of this stuff, the vast majority of it is either purging or releasing with a lot of tears of joy, as well as tears of sadness, tears of love, tears. We're crying, we're weeping out and releasing. Allowing it to come out is one of the highest gifts you can give at this time. Many of us have been conditioned away from crying. Please allow yourself to cry and to honor your body, your experience, and the mission that you've come with, allowing this to be released. There's no use for it to be imprisoned any longer. It's ready to go, and you're ready to not have to have it anymore. Releasing through laughter is sometimes comparable to it, though it's most useful if you can allow yourself to cry. Know that you're not alone, and that we're here with you, cheering you on, connected here at this time. We can feel it. We can feel it inside that we're here. The excited energy, the love that we feel in our hearts as we energetically connect, as we're doing now. Feeling that love that I'm sending out to you, and allowing that to be shared about, as we are beings of love. Light and love are the same thing. There's no separating the two. You are a light being, a love being. This is our natural conversation, our natural language, our natural exchange. Thank you for your service, and thank you for connecting with us today. I'm sending you so much love. You got this. Please don't give up. Aho blessings.